What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and we're here to discuss whether or not Deshaun Watson, A, will be traded, how much is he worth, and whether he's better now than what he was a couple years ago. Who can he go to? I don't know. Let's find out right after this.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
Welcome to Colts Law. I got with me my man, the guy who I like to come around with and talk a lot of football. It's Ray Rauth from DPN. What's going on, Ray? Thanks for joining my stream today.
Thank you for having me. You're usually on mine, so I'm thrilled to be somewhere else right now.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm so used to being on yours every Sunday and Wednesday. My own followers have gotten to the point where they're like, well, it's Sunday, time to go over and check out what Lawrence has to say over there on the Patriots stream.
I feel kind of weird, like you and I are on the wrong side of the screen. I'm used to it being the other way.
Right? No kidding. Well, I wanted to have an actual debate finally about something on my stream because, I mean, for instance, I'm in the same division as the guy that I'm wanting to talk about a little bit. So I might have a little bit of, homerism hate going towards that particular person. And I wanted to make sure that someone outside the division could give his thoughts about Deshaun Watson. And I want to bring up something real quick before we get into it. Deshaun Watson, before the beginning of the year, before the beginning of last season, I said after DeAndre Hopkins got traded, I thought Watson would actually end up being a better quarterback for not having DeAndre Hopkins. Now, obviously, the record doesn't show that. But if we go over here to the statistics, individual statistics, and you will see that in 2019, he had a 67% completion percentage, 3,800 yards, 26 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. And last year, without DeAndre Hopkins, he had a 70% completion percentage, led the NFL in yardage with 4,800 yards, with 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And actually, his yards per average was the highest of his entire career. Now, you and I, we have discussed this in length before. Do you think that Deshaun Watson as an individual performed better with or without DeAndre Hopkins?
Okay. So, like you, I got to see Deshaun Watson play against my team. You got to see it twice. I only got to see it once. Let me tell you what I saw. I saw Deshaun Watson tear the New England Patriots defense a you-know-what. I saw that ball get spread all over the field. I saw Deshaun Watson do things that we knew he was capable of, but maybe we never saw him do before. You want to have a debate. Unfortunately, Lawrence, you and I agree on too much to have a debate. It happens all the time, right? Like, I think he absolutely played better. I had someone from my fan base ask me, how come people, are ripping on Cam Newton, but giving Deshaun Watson the pass? He had a worse record. And I said, that record had nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had almost, 5,000 yards? That record had nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. That had to do with poor coaching. That had to do with a defense completely underplaying and underachieving what they should. When they traded DeAndre Hopkins, you and I were on a different platform at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can say we were over on the Sportscaster platform. We were a part of a team called the NFL News Team. And you, our buddy Joe, and I, we all discussed this trade. And at the time, I believe all three of us said this is the worst trade in the history of the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
I said at that point, Bill O'Brien's leash was a half. If the Texans were losing to the Chiefs at halftime, they should come out without Bill O'Brien. That was my, my take on it. Brandon Cooks is a good receiver. Not great, but good. Randall Cobb, good receiver. I think they had Kenny Stills, but he ended up getting cut, right?
Yeah, he ended up going somewhere else by the end of the year.
Yeah. And then Will Fuller was having a career year until he got, maybe we knew why he had a career year. Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, and this is going to irritate a very sensitive Kansas City Chiefs fan base right now, because they have now become, just so you know, the most sensitive fan base in football.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in football. Maybe that's where we can debate. But to me, he's the best quarterback in football.
My goodness. So do you think that the trade of DeAndre Hopkins forced him to get better this year? Maybe so he didn't have a primary number one receiver, so he had to figure out how to get through his progressions quicker and find receivers a little bit better and things like that?
I think that that Deshaun Watson knew how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can just throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I will point out that DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Gilmore went toe-to-toe in 2019. And I think he held DeAndre Hopkins to 3 catches. And the Texans threw all over the Patriots. At the time, what was probably the best defense in the league. Will Fuller burned Jonathan Jones twice on touchdown passes, But I think what it did was I don't think it forced him. I think he elevated his game and said, okay, I don't have my safety blanket,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady threw a lot of passes to Rob Gronkowski, right? When you have a safety blanket like Gronk, you're gonna throw him the football. Throw a lot of passes to him. Threw a lot of passes to Randy Moss. But when those guys got taken away or got injured, Tom Brady elevated his game, and in comes Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan, Malcolm Mitchell, Deion Branch, Walmart receiver, whatever you want. And I think that's what we saw out of Deshaun Watson. And Michael Irvin came out, I think, on yesterday, and he said, now the Cowboys have secured Dak Prescott. They have the closest thing. Sorry, I laughed saying it. They have the closest thing to Tom Brady in Dallas right now. And I sat there kind of dumbfounded, and I thought, I think Deshaun Watson is the closest thing to Tom Brady. Because we saw him, and I'm not comparing the two before people start flipping out. You know what I mean? We're not talking accomplishments. We're not having GOAT conversation. We're talking current day quarterbacks. Put him on a team with the exact same roster he had last year with competent coaching. I think that Texans team's a 12-win team. Easy a 12-win team. With
or without that porous defense that they had?
I think that defense would have played better with better coaching.
There
you know what I mean? I think that team, the way it was set up. Don't forget, over the last couple of years, say the last 3 years, Bill O'Brien's coaching tree has actually been getting picked.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mike Vrabel was a big piece of that Texans coaching staff before he went to Tennessee 2 years ago, right? Was it Wes Welker? He left Houston to go to San Francisco, or was that vice versa? I can't remember now. You know what I mean? But Bill O'Brien's coaching tree actually started getting picked up kind of all over the NFL. And I think Bill O'Brien as a head coach got exposed. And I mean, I love Romeo Cornell. Don't get me wrong. I mean, dude coached the Patriots, probably the best Patriots defense we ever had in those early 2000s. But he coached those Patriots teams in the early 2000s. 2021 defense is different. You're not getting pressure from the outside. You're coming straight up the middle. You know, like it's a different game today. The emphasis on secondary is so much more important than it was in the early 2000s. There was just a lot of things. That's why I don't know how great J.J. Watt is going to look in Arizona, because I don't think they have the defensive coaching to know how to use a J.J. Watt, to be honest with you. Deshaun Watson, I saw your thumbnail for this live stream. And did you nail that right on the head? Get this guy to a competent team. He doesn't even need a great team around him. Get him to a competent team that can coach them. I'm just saying, could you imagine him playing for Bill Belichick? You know, like, just, Deshaun, we don't need you to do everything. Play your game. We'll give you competent pieces. They won't be great, but we'll give you competent pieces. I'm not saying they're going to recreate what they did with Tom Brady, but they're going to win a Super Bowl at some point.
Yeah. So the issue is they don't have Bill O'Brien no more. We all know that the Texans got a certain coach on over from your neck of the woods. Do you think he will end up bending and giving Watson what he wants and trading him this offseason?
The GM? They just came out today and said Deshaun Watson's our quarterback. The two of them, the Texans and Deshaun Watson, are about to play the biggest game of chicken. Probably bigger than Le'Veon Bell, because that was up till now the biggest game of chicken, was that Le'Veon Bell holdout.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson holds all the leverage. You could say he's under a large contract and it's long-term and the Texans can do what they want. Deshaun Watson will just say, I'm sitting at home. I'm not coming. You can't find me enough to make me go broke. At some point, Houston's going to realize we don't have Deshaun Watson. He's taking a roster space, a spot, and we're not getting anything back for him. Here's the deal. I do not eliminate a chance that Deshaun Watson is traded in 2022. Like, you got to figure if he was going to get traded, it would have happened already. Who's going to have the money for Deshaun Watson in 2 weeks? Right? Free agency starts, right? This is a move you make pre-free agency. So people, that's why Carson Wentz got dealt. That's why the Stafford deal got done. Now the Colts know, okay, here's the money we have for free agency. I saw your assessment today. I think you're absolutely right. You're no longer one of the top of the league with salary cap. Let the big boys take all the big, tier 1 guys, and then we'll sit there and pick off all the tier 2 and tier 3 guys. Unfortunately for you, there's a team in there with a lot of money, and Bill Belichick, who I don't think is going to sign a single tier 1 player, and they're going to sit there and pick off all the tier 2 and tier 3. So I don't know what will be left for you, but that's the position the Colts are in, and you're in there because now you know what you're paying your quarterback and what you're doing. Is a team like the Patriots, is a team like, I don't know, name a quarterback needy team, going to sit there and not sign anybody and not re-sign players, waiting to see if Houston's going to trade Deshaun Watson or not? You know what I mean? To me, it's got to happen by Sunday, because tampering period starts Monday. And I think by that point, teams are no longer going to trade, are going to be in a position to trade for him. And maybe you'll have a team like the Patriots kicking around, and that's your only option. Right? And suddenly Deshaun's going, oh my God, if I want to get traded, right? Or if Houston says, so to me, they would have traded him already. That's my opinion. They would have traded him already because I want to throw a question at you because we talk about the quarterback needy teams. And obviously I'm New England Patriots. That's one of the teams that are needy. I know that. But how many quarterback needy teams are there for real when you start going through it team by team by team?
You'd have to really wait until after the draft to figure that one out, honestly. I mean, because you're going to figure out probably 4 teams are going to try to fill their spots with quarterbacks in the first 10 picks of the draft.
Absolutely.
So,
well, you figure the whole AFC East minus the Patriots has their quarterbacks.
mm-hmm.
Because either the Jets are going to have Sam Darnold or they're going to have a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The North has their quarterbacks. There's nothing Pittsburgh can do about Ben Roethlisberger now. The other 3 all have theirs. The South, okay, Houston, but Indy has their quarterback. And they're not going to get Watson anyway, so the South doesn't even count. But then you got Ryan Tannehill, who's another $1 billion quarterback, and then you got Trevor Lawrence is joining the division. Talk about lucking out with Indy, though. You're getting Trevor Lawrence, but at least you're getting rid of Watson. Good for you guys. Yeah. So
Right.
The North and the South are done, and then what? Maybe Denver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carter's about to sign a big contract, so Watson's out from there. Well, they're not going to – they got Mahomes in Kansas City, so maybe Denver and Justin Herbert and the Chargers, they don't need him. So in the AFC, there's 2 teams. And then you go to the NFC team, San Francisco maybe. Everybody else has a quarterback in that division. You know what I mean?
Unless Seattle,
moves Russell Wilson. The only way I see is they change quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Russell to Houston and Deshaun to Seattle, but they both have no trade clauses. So they either one of those can veto the trade, right? So it's and I'm not going to go through the whole NFC either, but Chicago needs a quarterback, right? Detroit. I think they're stuck with Jared Goff now, right? The Saints, but they can't afford Deshaun Watson this year because they can't move enough cap to get him. You got Michael. Washington's another option. Philly maybe, but you're kind of stuck with Jalen Hurts. Do you really want to go down that road now?
Right.
Dallas has Dak. I think the Giants like Daniel Jones. So there's maybe like a handful of teams. And you have to assume that most of those teams are going to make a move in free agency and kind of not be in a quarterback needy space anymore or not have the money to be able to bring in Deshaun Watson. So I don't think he's getting traded this year, to be honest with you. I think they're doing him wrong, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to get traded.
So if he does, so we already went through basically the teams that we believe could use him this year. My only other question is how much is Watson worth? Now, obviously, that depends upon the team that they're grabbing, right? The team but how much can you see like the most that a team would give for Deshaun Watson? For instance, if the Patriots were to trade for Deshaun Watson today, how much would you be willing to give to get him?
How much would I be willing to give, or how much do I think Belichick would be willing to give? Those are 2 different questions.
Well, let's go ahead and drop both of them.
Honestly, with Belichick, I have no idea. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to give an answer and say that's even my guess because I don't have the foggiest of clues what he would give up for Deshaun Watson. What I would give up is 3 first-round draft picks. Easily, I would drop 3. Because here's the way I look at it, Lawrence. N'Keal Harry, Sony Michel, and Isaiah Wynn are our last 3 first-round draft picks. And I would trade all 3 of those guys for Deshaun Watson. Right? I mean...
Plus some.
I would rather... I'd give up 3 firsts, some fifths, At the same time... Here's the thing. And I mean this now, and this is going to sound ridiculous because it's Deshaun Watson and the Patriots right now have Jared Stidham with the real reality that it's probably going to be Cam Newton or Jimmy Garoppolo as our starting quarterback. So it sounds ridiculous when I say this, but I wouldn't make the offer until after the draft because the Patriots need their draft capital. even because they're not, you know what I mean? Like there's so many other holes that they need to fill on this team. They need that draft capital. Of course, that means not spending as much money in free agency, and you're kind of taking a risk, hoping you can, Deshaun will come to New England. Because the Kansas City Chiefs proved. No. Sorry, am I cutting out on you?
No.
Oh, you're cutting out on me. I thought I was freezing up. The Kansas City Chiefs proved that just because you have a great quarterback doesn't mean you're going to win the Super Bowl. You need an offensive line. You need a defense.
Mm-hmm.
Houston proved you can't just have a great quarterback. You need other things. Dallas, I mean, their record wasn't great when Dak went down, and Dak was on an MVP level type of run there. So, I mean, if you look at his stats, he was on pace for 5,000 yards. Like he was on, and almost 30 touchdowns. Like he was on pace. You need more of a team. And I don't think this year, because of the way the Patriots situation is, they can afford to give up their draft capital in 2021. And I know there's Patriot fans rolling their eyes at me right now and going, oh, Ray. But trust me, the Patriots cannot afford to give that up at this moment.
Well, I mean, you could give up like next year's, just to be like, hey, not this year's, but next year's first, the year after that first, the year after that first, and to make up for it, maybe we'll increase a couple thirds in there as well, to make up for the fact that you ain't getting it this year,
The reason I think the Patriots are out is because I've heard that when I say heard, I've read. I have no sources. Just anybody who doesn't know me here on Lawrence's channel, I'm proud of not having it. I have McChicken Vlogs, the best source in the business. Okay, best source in the business. He's gonna be on with me at 9:00 tonight. But to me, I've heard 3 first-round picks plus 2 players, and now I'm sitting there going, okay, who do the Patriots have that they would want? And the answer is nobody, because if they're not, and Stephon Gilmore is not an attractive piece in their situation. I think Stephon Gilmore is an attractive piece to Cleveland, but not to Houston.
Maybe win.
Maybe what? But you want the lineman who hasn't played a full season since he's been drafted.
Well,
that's it. We don't have let's face it, our 2 best offensive linemen are free agents right now. Mm-hmm. Our center and our guard. I don't think the Patriots have the players, which is why it's also going to cost all that draft capital on top of it. That's why you're talking 3 firsts and then some, where I think there's other teams that could come in with 3 firsts and a couple of skilled players. Detroit missed the boat when they had Galladay and them all under contract, but I would have franchise tagged one of them. You know what I mean? And try, but I guess you got Jared Goff, and I mean, you're happy Jared Goff. And I would have tried to flip Goff as a part of that as well to Houston. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, at least you're getting a guy who could be your quarterback. Like, what do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah, true enough. All right. So as for me, as a Colts fan, obviously, I don't think the Colts need a player, but let's say if I'm looking at Chicago or I'm looking at Washington or San Francisco, absolutely, I would trade. I would give my best quarterback, whether it be Heineke, whether it be Trubisky, whether it be Garoppolo, and 3 first-round picks, because obviously you're going to want to give him a quarterback. It doesn't have to be like super quarterback, and I would give 3 first-round picks just because of the simple fact, like you said, first-round picks are not guaranteed. There are a lot of first-round picks that fail as a first-round pick. They may perform as a 5th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick, but either way, they fail as a first-round pick, and it happens more often than when they actually succeed at the position.
Just talk to Patriots fans.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you.
Yeah. So, that was why giving the 13th overall pick to the Niners for DeForest Buckner was a slam dunk, in my opinion, when I saw, because you knew what you were getting with him. You had no clue if the guy that you were going to select that would have been in place of DeForest Buckner, who the Niners legitimately went and got, and did not perform to what you thought DeForest Buckner would be, So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's my thought process too. I would give 3 firsts and plus for a guy who for the next 15 years, it's going to give you the opportunity to win a lot of games. And with a guy like that in the playoffs, you have no idea. I mean, any situation is not out of hand. With Watson, you could be up or down 21 points, and there's a possibility that man can bring you back, in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I've seen it happen. But then again, I've seen the reverse happen too, but you can't really put that as much on him as you do the defense. Which is why, like you said, defense is very important too. You named off a couple teams. Don't forget Seattle. Russell's a heck of a quarterback, but if that defense was worth their salt, they would have won more games. Same with Arizona, right? I mean, Kyler Murray looked really good last year, but without a defense, they just weren't able to do anything. And I understand why Watson wants out. The whole team around him that he's known since he's been in Houston is gone. His favorite target, the most valuable player on defense, the MVP of the league 2 times, right? All these guys just gone. Whitney Merciless probably won't even be on the team soon. So, that's a situation that, Watson's like, get me the heck out of a drowning ship. Give me a chance to win. And I fully understand it. And I get it. Guys, we spent almost about a half an hour just giving our thoughts. Now we're going to go to the live chat because simple fact, that's what we're here for. Live chat. Scared, what's going on? Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And then Ross drops in with a super chat as well. Sup, Law Dog, Watson's legit, and the Texans failed him. Side note, I got a like on Twitter from Ray's Man Crush, Dante Hightower, and I think he's jealous.
I am jealous, but my claim to fame, I'm not even kidding you. This is how much of a fanboy I am. I have it framed on my wall. I got some customization done on a hat that had I got Hightower's signature stitched in, and it was a Super Bowl hat. And he sent me a fist as a reply on Instagram, and I printed it and framed it on my wall.
That's great. King J brings up John Brown. What do you think of John Brown? I think John Brown, if the Colts don't re-sign T.Y. Hilton, I think he's almost identical to T.Y. Now his production's not the same, but when it comes to, what he's able to do on the field, his size, his weight, his hand size, his 40, his 3-cone, everything like that, very similar to T.Y. If you could get him for a cheap because he's got injury history, but I think, like a 1-year, $7 million prove it deal, I think would be fair for a John Brown. What do you think, Ray?
I've held this stance for a long time on John Brown. I think he's a legit number 1 on most teams. I think if you have a Stephon Diggs, he's a number 2, but I think he's a legit number 1 on most teams. This year with the salary cap dropping, I said last night I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for 10 to 12. I mean, if Curtis Samuel is being predicted in that 10 to 12 range, and Will Fuller, who to me I don't know if I consider Will Fuller a true number 1. I consider him a stretch guy. You know what I mean? A speed guy. I don't know if I consider him a true number 1. I like John Brown a lot, and I think he did so well in Buffalo in 2019. Him and Beasley together, and then when Stephon Diggs came in, obviously Stephon Diggs is he's a top 5 talent, maybe top 10, whatever you want to put him in the NFL right now. So he's obviously going to take snaps away from John Brown. But yeah, John Brown's biggest issue is injuries, and that probably would lower his value. But I think that there's a lot of wide receiver hungry teams out there, and I think that some of the wide receivers available are going to get overpaid. And I think that Kenny Golladay is going to set the market, and whatever he gets, that's going to set the market. And if he gets overpaid, everybody's getting overpaid. I mean, listen, unless they can control it. Like when I saw the Carson Wentz trade, I was so thrilled by that. I was not that I was happy you guys found your starting quarterback, but I was so thrilled by it because you guys kind of normalized the market. Because after that Matthew Stafford trade, we started hearing ridiculous numbers for quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that the Wentz trade sort of kind of stabilized things. But I think if Kenny Golladay gets overpaid, and he could, now that Allen Robinson and Chris Godwin are off the market, I think that will set the market high, and you could see everybody get overpaid.
I think you'll see, like I said earlier, I think during the free agency market, the first few days, you're going to have a lot of people getting overpaid. And then the free agency market's going to start to dry up, not because the players aren't there. The players will be there. There'll still be plenty of players. Teams will be starting to run out of cap space.
Who's worth more money to you, Kenny Galladay or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Galladay. But I'm not really all that high on Schuster either. So, I kind of agree with you on the Fuller thing. I kind of got Will Fuller kind of in the same category as Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
A guy who could take you deep, but you don't want him as your number one.
Good complimentary piece to Tyreek Hill, or a good complimentary piece to DeAndre Hopkins. Absolutely. I fully agree with you.
My Patriots updates. I'm going to say this is a question for you because I don't have any. I've turned some down. I will say that. I've turned down sponsors. They came to me and asked me, and I was like, no, because they were offering too little, and there's no way I'm going to drop ads on my channel to get in the way of content when I'm not getting near enough compensation for that. It's not fair to you guys. Right? How do you get sponsors? Or do you want to give away that secret?
No, I didn't give it away. I check my email and they say, hey, we'd like to. And I say, okay, how much do you want to give me? And then they give me a price and I normally say, no, how about this? And then we work it out. And then I say, okay, let's do it. That's I've never actively I've actively in the past, sent emails and this and that, but I've never actively seeked a sponsor. The only one I actively went after was Fanatics, and I landed Fanatics, and they ripped me off. So I have sworn off ever chasing down a sponsor again. Either you want to sponsor me or you don't. And my biggest regret is I got an offer for a gambling site to be a sponsor for them, and I said no on some moral high ground. And they offered me a lot of money, more than Sportscaster was paying me a month just to run their ads. And but I was like, I know a lot of kids watch my stuff. I don't know why, but a lot of kids. So I didn't want to promote gambling. But now that I don't have Sportscaster, I'm kicking myself for not taking that deal and want to go back to them and say, is it still on the table?
I have actively searched one place, and it was a local area, a small business. Hoosier Jiffy Print. They do decals and apparel and stuff like that. Do little things like you could take a jersey and send it to them, and they could embroider your name on it, stuff like that. Little things like that. Do business cards, and they did a few things for me. I thought it was great, so I pitched them. I just pitched it to them earlier this week, so I'm still waiting to see if I even get an email back about it. So
we've done that a little bit. Connor's actually going door to door to some local Massachusetts businesses trying to get, because we were looking at our analytics and 70% of our audience is from the Mass area. So we figure we have enough of a support. And just to answer to Facile or My Patriots Updates, he says, I don't think a lot of kids, 10% of my audience is between the ages 13 and 17 years old. So that's enough. It's enough for me. You know what I mean? 10%. That's at least 100 a live stream.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't like to promote non-kid stuff when I have kids watching.
Scrolling down here. This is not necessarily a Patriots thing, but our channel, but we'll go ahead and go here. King J, should the Pats draft a defensive player in round 1? Barmore or Quiddy Pay or trade down? I don't know. Do you have any opinions on here?
I just love that my audience is taking over your channel. That's just phenomenal to me, guys. I feel the love. I wouldn't be surprised. McChicken will be on. I'm not promoting, I'm just being honest. McChicken will be on with us tonight. He's going to be doing all this college breakdown for us because we know nothing about college. And if they don't play for Ohio State, I don't know. But Sorry, I just saw a comment. But if I've said for them to take like an inside linebacker or an interior defensive tackle with that 15th overall pick, I wouldn't be surprised at all, and I wouldn't hate it either.
Yeah. Fully agree. I do feel bad for Casario. He comes in, the first thing out of his top player's mouth is, no, I want out. That is a bad situation.
I think about that all the time too. Here in Toronto, back in the day, I know you don't watch baseball that often, but Roy Halladay at the time was the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, and Alex Anthopoulos took over as general manager, and his first move he made was he had to trade Roy Halladay. And I remember thinking, no matter what you do, you're not going to get this right. You know, like no one's going to be happy with the return you get for Roy Halladay, and they weren't, and nobody panned out, and it was just a mitigated disaster.
Dan got the plan. How's it going? What's going on? I appreciate you being here in my chat. Hey, guys, if you're watching this, you're one of the few people who's watching live because I didn't post this as a Colts Law podcast, and that's why it's not streaming, I assume, like to a lot of people. But those of you that are here, please don't forget, smash that like button. Helps with the analytics. And then if by chance you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it.
Like and subscribe. It takes nothing to do it. Just click. And you don't have to deal with me every show. Just
he hates Daniel Jones. He's just a bad quarterback. He's Jacoby Brissett 2.0. Utterly and completely disagree. Jacoby Brissett, first off, is very safe with the football. He does not give it away. I think Daniel Jones is more mobile, Daniel Jones is more mobile than Jacoby. Jacoby's hard to bring down. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to being able to get out in the open field, make moves and do things of that nature, I think Jones by far beats Brissett. I think Jones is, quite frankly, he'll throw the foot. He's fearless throwing the football too. And Brissett does have that problem of not wanting to throw it deep. Because he is a safe guy. I heard what's your opinion on this?
I hate that comparison. Daniel Jones is so much better than Jacoby Brissett. Daniel Jones, I don't know what people's problem is with Daniel Jones, man. I don't know if they're listening to New York media or listening to Max Kellerman too much or what it is. Like, you know, he had that gap this year where he tripped on the line, you know, and embarrassed himself.
Should have been a touchdown.
Yeah. But I saw a big improvement out of Daniel Jones. He reminds me exactly of Josh Allen, where everybody was just, you know, down on Josh Allen, and suddenly year 3. So we'll see. This season will be a big year for Daniel Jones. It'll be year 3. And if he can look like, I don't know if he'll look like Josh Allen. He looked phenomenal and should have had some MVP votes as far as I'm concerned. But if he can come out really take that, I'm on the same path of the way Josh Allen is. And I would Josh Allen. I said prior to the 2019 season, okay, in the off season of the 2019 season, I was on a stream with a Buffalo fan and a New York Jets fan and a Dolphins fan. We're doing like an AFC's roundtable. And I told them at that table, Josh Allen, after Tom Brady, will be the best quarterback in the division. And they all laughed at me and started talking about Sam Darnold. And I was right. I'm not saying that Daniel Jones, I can't go out on that limb and say he's going to be better than Dak, but he will be a good quarterback. That's my prediction.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when it came to Josh Allen last year, I was like, look at the jump he made from year 1 to year 2. If he makes a jump like that again in year 3, Josh Allen's going to be a phenomenal player. And that's exactly what he did. So, yeah, I mean, if Daniel just finds a way, I mean, he improved enough. He had a chance to beat the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers early in the season, late in the fourth quarter. All right. And then forgot what he was doing well the rest of the game and turned the ball over at the end, which sealed it. But what he was doing throughout the rest of the game was phenomenal and darn near beat Brady and the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let's see here. What else we got? What's going on, Justin? All right. I'm getting some of my Colts guys in here finally. Dragon. What's going on, Dragon? I think Dragon is a Kimoko Ture fan, I assume, because Kimoko Ture's nickname is the Dragon. Colts should trade a second-round pick for Mike McGlinchey. and then move him to left tackle and reunite him with Big Q. I don't know if a second round pick would be enough for Mike McGlinchey. I love the idea. Oh my goodness, that would be nasty because those two guys were just, they were like a bulldozing powerhouse over at Notre Dame. But I don't know if a second round pick or even if San Francisco would be good enough to trade someone like that. I mean, their team is just like the Colts. They're built on the run.
You don't even have a second round pick. So,
well, we have a second round pick. We don't have a third round pick this year. We traded this year's third round pick and next year's second. So, yeah. I would love it if it happened. Yeah, second or first round pick, depending. Agree. Yes, Brissett's not a gadget guy. He's not. Let's see what else we got on here. Justin, blah, blah, blah. What's up, Justin? Welcome to Shenanigans. That's funny. Dragon says, I'm a Colts guy, and there's no way you're getting Watson for 3 firsts. Yeah. It depends.
I think we said that. It would be 3+.
Unless it like come from the Jets, I could see it then because you're getting the second pick of the draft, right? That is viable as opposed to getting what you would expect to be a mid or late firsts and then in consecutive orders. If you're getting a really early first round pick, like what the Jets, obviously the Jags ain't going to do it, but if you had like the first pick of the draft, and like here it is for Watson, I think that would count for something. But yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm Jacksonville, I'm thinking about it. I'm probably not doing it, but I'm thinking about it.
I don't think the Texans would do it.
You can get Trevor Lawrence. Are you going to shut that down?
How high are you? There's a lot of people out there that think that there's other quarterbacks that now I know it's laughable to some, but there are people out there saying that guys like Zach Wilson might be a better pick than Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, but you can have one of those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can do your evaluations. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're the same division, but if I'm both teams, I'm thinking about it because if I'm Jacksonville, I got a ton of money and I'm going, we know who he is. We know for sure. There's no guarantee. If I'm Houston, I'm going, there's no guarantee from a rookie quarterback, but that's probably about as close to a guarantee as we can get coming out of college. And you're talking a division that's going to be good for a long time, man. You're talking a Tennessee team, a Colts team, a Jacksonville team that's going to be improved. I'm thinking about it. If I'm both teams, I'm probably not doing it, but if I'm both teams, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it, but I don't know if I was the Texans, I would not want to play against Deshaun Watson twice a year. I just wouldn't want to do it. Patriot, hey, what's up? Faye says that is Faisal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I my guy, you changed your stuff, and I always forget sometimes. I think you can get him with good players, 2 firsts, 2 seconds. I think that's possible too. It just depends upon the player. Obviously, like if it was like a decent quarterback to go with, the trade, I think like 2 firsts and some other really good quarterback. I can't think off the top of my head who it would be. I don't know, maybe Kirk Cousins. Let's say Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins, he's not Watson style, but you know what you're getting out of him. I think he might be worthy of that inclusion.
I also think that you got to see where the picks are coming from too. And you said it perfectly, like with the New York Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're guaranteed to get the number 2. If I'm trading with, let's say, New England, who's the number 15 this year, I'm going to have a pretty good inkling if they get Deshaun Watson, they're not picking in the top 15 next year. Mm-mm. So you're going to get basically the 15th pick this year. And if you get the next 2 firsts, there's a good possibility you're picking in the 30s, which means you're basically picking in the second round. So you basically got a first and 2 seconds for Deshaun Watson. So that's why if you're the Patriots, you're giving up 3 to get a player like that. If you're the Jets, you're maybe only giving up 2 because you have the 2nd overall, and you're not a Deshaun Watson away from being a good competitive team. You got a whole another year to go. You're probably getting a top 15 pick again the following year, and I could see Houston saying, all right, we'll take 2 firsts, and throw Sam Darnold in as well, right?
Yeah, Yeah, I agree. Colts should get John Brown, Dragon says. Like I said, on a fair 1-year prove-it deal, I would have no issue with that as long as T.Y. Hilton ain't back. Faye says Cole Beasley is better than John Brown.
They play 2 different positions. Play 2 different positions.
Cole Beasley's a slot receiver, and he's darn good at doing it too.
Yeah, Cole Beasley's a beast, but they don't run the same routes, so you can't compare it.
Agreed. It'd be like comparing
Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski.
I was going to say Julian Edelman and Moss, but
yeah, same thing, same thing, right? Two different things, 2 different ways to play. It's fine. I know they're all wide receivers, but they're different wide receivers. It's almost a completely different position.
King J, I'm telling you, I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to make it to number 15. I don't think he's going to make it out of the 10.
I don't think he is either. And I love him as a wide receiver. I love Kyle Pitts as a receiver. And a lot of teams now have him on their board as a receiver, not a tight end. He's the next DK Metcalf, and he could be more talented than DK Metcalf as a receiver. I know originally back in January, February, everybody was saying, he was, everybody had Pitts going to New England, but I don't think he's going to fall. And I don't think Belichick's going to trade up for Pitts. I think he would trade up for a quarterback. I don't think he's going to trade up for Pitts. I'm the same as you. Listen, if Kyle Pitts is there at 15 and we don't take him, I'm not going to be a happy man. I'll just put it that way.
All right. So we're dropping this. First off, it's a super chat. Ray don't even want to talk about this on his channel. I have no problem because he was a Colt. So I went and watched him live at training camp. So I can talk all the smack about Chad Kelly I want to. This is my channel. All right. I was there. I watched Chad Kelly fumble his first 3 snaps in training camp as a Colt. Okay. First 3 snaps right out the gate, fumbled him off. And then later on, he couldn't even get one out of the shotgun position. It went right through his hands, hit him right in the face mask, and dropped to the ground. On top of that, he's got interesting arm talent. Yes, I'm not going to deny that, but he can't read a defense for crap, and he has no kind of connection with receivers. I watched his preseason games. Everybody's like, oh, he's so great. He was hitting his receivers in the back because the receivers weren't ready for the football, and everybody wanted to blame the receiver. But at the point of the route that the receiver was in, it wasn't time for them to look back for the football. Chad Kelly don't know when to throw the football, so that's the problem. All right.
Chad Kelly's the GOAT, okay? Like undisputed.
Now, could a team grab Chad Kelly, put him on their roster, use him as like a 3rd string guy?
Practice squad?
Yes. Well,
scout team.
Yes, I think Chad Kelly would make an excellent scout team quarterback, especially for a team that has just a traditional pocket quarterback. Because I think Chad Kelly could be that guy that your defense, your starting defense, can practice against mobile quarterbacks with. Because I think he's good enough to do that with at least. And then, if he shows enough during practice, during that situation, and tears your defense apart in that practice, then on that scout team practice, then maybe you could move on from there. But if you already have a young, good quarterback, there's no reason to get Kelly.
Can I bring up a subject before you go to another chat?
Sure.
Because I'm looking at our time and I know we only got a few minutes left. So
yeah.
I want to bring this up. And I want to bring this up. We've talked about this many a times on my channel, Lawrence.
Okay.
But I want to bring it up on your channel in front of your Colts Nation, or I don't know what you call yourselves. What are you?
Colts Nation.
Colts Nation. I want to bring it up to Colts Nation. Why are you guys ruining Paris Campbell? Okay? Why are you ruining one of the best receivers to come out of Ohio State? Why are you ruining Paris Campbell?
We want to know why every time we get an Ohio State guy, they end up getting hurt. Okay,
It's a problem with Indianapolis, obviously.
it's only the Ohio State guys that are getting hurt. That's the problem. First it was Malik Hooker, and then Paris Campbell, and then Tyquan Lewis, and they're all. We keep getting Ohio State guys. They keep getting hurt. I don't understand why.
I need to address a comment here.
Sure. Which one? I'll highlight it.
Right, King J at the bottom. He put breaking news. Can I be real with everybody for a minute here?
Sure.
I put a check in the bank today. Right? I got a sponsorship that came in, and I put a check in the bank today. Prior to that check being in the bank, my bank account had $53 in it. Okay.
Now it's got $58 in
it. This breaking news is not accurate whatsoever. I pay my mortgage, I pay my bills, we order pizza, and I'm broke. So I put my family into debt with my jersey obsession, and no, I have to confirm this is inaccurate.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to give my opinion on this, Brandon, and then I'm going to let Ray give his outside opinion on this. So do you think the AFC South is the Colts division to lose? Now, technically, it is the Titans to lose because the Titans won the division. Even though we have the same record as the Titans, they still won it off of similar teams that we played right through the season. So my thought process on that is also we still got an off season. I want to see what happens in the draft before I make a decision on that, because the Colts have, yes, they got some really quality guys on both sides of the football, but they have some key holes that they need to fill due to free agency. They have both their starting defensive ends gone. Their number CB1 is gone. Their left tackle is gone. We got to fill these spots. Okay. Now, yes, our Mike linebacker will be gone most likely. I don't see the Colts re-signing him, but we have Chris Ballard's such a great guy at drafting linebackers that I think, Bobby Okereke can step right in there, and it shouldn't be much of a drop-off, if at all, maybe even an improvement. But if Ballard has his traditional good offseason and good draft, yes, I think the Colts are a better team, or at least the best team in the South. But like I said, I got to see what happens, though, with the free agency and the draft. From an outsider's standpoint, Ray, and you're looking at the AFC South, how would you rank it right now?
Oh, the Colts are trash. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Look, Carson Wentz is the question mark to me. I felt better, way better. I mean, I told you last season it was the Colts division to lose, and you disappointed me. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just reading the comments, and it's you guys are way overestimating my value. I'm worried about you guys are going from one of the best defensive lines in the NFL to maybe a little weaker on the outside. You know what I mean? You're probably going to lose Malik Hooker, right?
But we have Julian Blackmon, so
no, Malik Hooker's the GOAT. Okay, you guys just ruined him, just like you're ruining Paris Campbell. Ty is not Ty anymore, but he's still Ty in Indianapolis, and sometimes that means something. As stupid as it sounds. And I had a lot of faith in Phillip Rivers last year. I wasn't as homerish about it as you were because you're a Colts fan, but I had faith that he could manage a game. He started rough. You guys lost to Jacksonville. You wouldn't talk to us in the group chat. It was you disappeared for a day and we didn't know where you were, and you turned out to be okay. But you're obviously the Texans aren't there. I still think Tennessee's an overrated team. I don't think their defense is going to be any good next year. I'm going to be straight up with you. Yeah, I think it's Colts division. Unless like Trevor Lawrence looks like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning and they, spend all their money on Kenny Galladay and Will Fuller and, a bunch of defensive players and look, do an instant turnaround. I doubt that's going to happen, but that's the only way I see any pushback towards the Colts. I think it's the Colts division to play.
Okay. John Johnson has an interesting question. How would you recover as an organization with a salary cap, trading 3 first-round picks and no young studs with a low salary? Well, I'll tell you what.
Can I answer from a Patriots perspective to make it really easy? Because I already answered this. N'Keal Harry, Isaiah Wynn, and Sony Michel were our last 3 first-round draft picks. That's how we can survive. Carry on.
Now, let's go back to 2016 and look at the LA Rams. They have not had a first-round pick since they grabbed Jared Goff. They have not had a first-round pick. They're not going to have another first-round pick, I think, until 2024. And I think that they are probably second or third in the Super Bowl runnings currently because of their current roster. So you can do it. You just gotta do it right. It's a tough balance, but I think you can.
It is. It's if you have a GM who can hit in the sorry, I just have to show these people something. That's my bank account balance right now. And that was a 500, not a 5,000. That wasn't a 597 with a comma. That was just my Ray is broke. Ray is broke. I own expensive things, and because of that, I have no money.
He has expensive things.
my mortgage is not, I'm not kidding you, is $400 biweekly. It's like $800 a month. I put half. I don't have a lot of money because I put half my house down when I bought it. Like I put 50% of my house down. I bought a nice car. You know what I mean? We spent money on big things and now I'm broke. And now I live like I ordered Pizza Hut tonight and that's like my treat for the week.
Okay. Hey, just plain folks, just checking in. Who's Ray for those of us who came in late?
If you don't know who I am, you shouldn't be here. Okay.
All right. Just plain folks. Ray is Ray Rauth. He's DPN. He is DPN standing for Deer Pass Nation. I join his channel every Sunday and Wednesday as an outsider for his Patriots channel. I brought him in to give a little bit of out so that I'm not, same exact reason, right? A little bit of information from an outside perspective so that you're not getting all, you can't say, well, this is just a Homer channel, right? So yeah, that's Ray, and he's a good guy. I've been a co-worker with him for over a year now over on Sportscaster. We've worked our butts off together, blood, sweat, and tears working over there, putting out as much freaking content. Man, this time last year, we were so sick of talking about like 3 certain players that it just got overwhelming. But yeah.
So we would get our assignments. Let's just say it. We'd get our assignments, and I would literally start writing to our boss, and everybody was in the group chat, and I would write, are we talking about Dak Prescott, Cam Newton, or who else was it? Or Lamar Jackson tonight? Which one of the 3 are we talking about? Because that's all we talked about. Tom Brady got traded, and we talked about that or not traded. Tom Brady left for Tampa Bay. We talked about that for a day, and then we talked about Lamar Jackson for 3 straight days.
Yeah, it was terrible. A lot of Yannick Ngakoue stuff. A lot of the Titans guy. Yeah, just different people that we would just run off for like 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row.
Oh, Derrick Henry, we talked about a lot.
Yeah. Ross, thank you again, my guy. Debating with the wife, chicken noodle or vegetable beef?
It's not even I don't know, maybe it is a debate. It's chicken noodle all day. I mean, you ever sick? If you're sick, you know what's actually the best? Do you guys ever have like that? Do you guys have Lipton's in the States? Is that an American thing or is that a Canadian thing? You do have Lipton's.
Lipton soup?
Yeah. Okay, because sometimes I say brands that I think is like a worldwide brand, and I find out it's only Canadian. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Lipton's like, like just the chicken broth with the noodles. Like we call it sicky soup. You know what I mean? We have it in the mugs. Dude, I get in the wintertime when you're cold, a nice mug of that chicken noodle soup all day. All day.
My who the hell eats vegan beef soup? That is the fun. New face. Oh, thank you so much for that. I haven't laughed that hard in so long.
Vegan beef. Vegan beef. Oh God, that killed.
Oh, I hope that was.
I was watching that debate too, and I thought that said vegetable beef. Oh God.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for that. Oh, face. My wife will tell you vegetable beef soup, if it's homemade, over chicken noodle. Personally, if I'm sick, yes, chicken noodle. If I'm eating it as a side dish because it's a side soup, I'll take the vegetable. You can keep that vegan crap to yourself, though.
Oh man. King J is talking a lot. Apparently he's moving to Canada. We pay a lot of taxes here. I don't know if you'd like it in Canada. Trust me. I've talked about it on the podcast for 2 straight nights because now the new YouTube stuff. But you put vegan beef.
Oh yeah, I have my channel listed as not for children, so I'm just letting you know.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, so do I.
So
King
now
Jay's,
you need to call them back and get that.
King Jay's asking if I'm a big Raptors fan. I'd say I'm a Raptors fan. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not like some like my boys who can rattle off everything. I know enough about I know like an average fan would know it. Like I don't know as much about the Raptors as I know about the Patriots. You know what I mean? Like my folks on the Patriots. But I watch games. I try to catch. The problem is now a lot of Raptor games I can't watch the whole game because I start watching it and then I got to do the podcast at 9:00 and the game's not over. So sometimes I'll have it running on the screen. I don't talk a lot about the Raptors though because my audience is primarily a Boston audience and they're Celtics fans, so I just stay away from it. But I like the Raptors. They're they brought a championship to Toronto and that made a lot of people happy, so I was happy.
All right, my number one thing, last statement, and then I'll get a question to Ray from me because of this statement. Just plain, folks, Indy's biggest challenge is pass rush. There are some big pass rushers, name-wise, in this free agency. Ray, who do you think the Colts could target this free agency on defensive end pass rush?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And now you're going to force people to know that I'm looking up. I'm looking up free agent pass rushers.
You know what? It's fine because I would do the same thing with you if it come to like defensive tackles.
Now, who should they, or who do I think would be a good fit for Indy?
Who do you think would be a good fit in Indy as a pass rusher?
Well, I mean, if I had my way and I was Indy, I would just bring back Justin Houston. That would be knows the system. You know what I mean? I mean, look, I'm just gonna say Yannick because I always say Nagaku. I always say his name wrong and get laughed at. Ngagwe. There you go. Obviously him. I mean, I want the Patriots to get Carlos Dunlap, so I'm not gonna say for the Colts to get him because that's my defensive end. So truthfully, why do you have an issue with Justin Houston? Because I like Justin Houston. I talked about Justin Houston a lot to you last year.
I said I wouldn't mind the Colts getting Justin Houston or Danico Autry back. Both guys did okay. I just don't want to pay him $10 million a year, and I want a a premier rusher to go on the other end. So one guy on one defensive end and a premier guy to go on the other. That way we help out our pass rush. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Okay. So
I like a lot of Colts fans love Carlos Dunlap. I'm a Yannick fan. There's some Trent guy or Hendrickson, I think is his name. Yeah, from the Saints.
yeah.
There's some guys.
What about? I know he's older, but for you guys, what about Everson Griffin?
I don't. We've had our. I don't want to bring someone in older.
But isn't this a go for it year for you guys?
Nah, I think we got the next, like, we have an incredibly young team with extended contracts. I mean, over the next, we got guys for 4 or 5 years right now. Some of our key pieces.
Well, you may not have a quarterback. Which I'm just saying, I'm not doubting Carson Wentz, but we don't know yet. If
Carson Wentz succeeds, we're going for it this year, and if he and he's under contract for the next 4 seasons. So I mean,
you want young. Then I guess Yannick. I'm just going to call him Yannick, okay? Because I'm not getting laughed at. Yannick would be okay. You guys all know who I'm talking about. If you don't, go suck an egg. How about the Jets guy? Anderson.
Henry Anderson was
yeah.
A Colt before he got released.
Oh,
he got released about the same time that we released the guy that the Patriots picked up, John Simon.
I like John Simon.
Oh,
John Simon has done a lot for the Patriots.
They're both very hard workers. I think Henry Anderson and John, but they weren't scheme fits. That's why they were released.
I don't know then, because all the good defensive ends right now, outside of Jadeveon Clowney, I don't know if you guys want Clowney, but outside of Jadeveon Clowney and Yannick, I mean, everybody's in their 30s.
Yeah.
Like all the good ones. You know what I mean? So
I wouldn't mind drafting. There's not a lot of great. I mean, once you get past like the first 4 or 5 in the draft, there's a huge drop off talent wise. But there's a couple Miami University guys out there that I think would fit very, very well with the Colts. Now, if they drop the 21, I'll be okay with them grabbing them. But we'll see.
What did we call Simon? Because they're all saying John Simon. Did we call him something else?
No, it's John Simon.
That's what we said.
Simon.
Oh, yeah. So they're all just saying John Simon. Okay, because when I get names wrong, they just immediately I always know when I say a name wrong because I just get like 100 of them in the in the chats.
No, it's John Simon. If I said something otherwise, I said it John Simon in my head. It must have came out wrong.
And if you said it and it said something else, I must have repeated whatever the hell you said. So,
yeah.
Well, did it teach you a lesson?
What?
So John Simon didn't work for you guys.
No.
Right? Because you just need to stay away from the Ohio State University.
Right.
Because all you do is hurt our players or ruin them. Okay.
Well, to be fair, John Simon wasn't drafted by the Colts.
No, he was a Raven, but you brought him in, it didn't work, he got released, and look what Belichick did with him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he played well for the Colts for a couple years, but
you ruined him. You ruined him.
Oh, whatever.
You ruined Ohio guys.
All right, guys. I want to thank Ray Rauth again for joining my stream. You could check him out. You could find him on his Twitter and YouTube page in the description below. Ray, take a second. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube. The links are in the description below. No, you can find me on Twitter at DPN _Ray. You can find me on YouTube. It's just Dear Pats Nation. I got Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. You can find me there too at Dear Pats Nation. I think we're at Dear Pats Nation 1 on TikTok because I'm pretty sure I created a Dear Pats Nation TikTok account and then we forgot the email and passwords. We had to create another one. We're a little bit more active on there. If you want to see me dance like an idiot to Dante Hightower returning, head on over to TikTok. That's where we are. I talk a lot of shit on Twitter. And I talk a lot of nonsense too. I like to have fun. Find me having fun everywhere else. It's a genuine consensus that I'm an idiot, just so everybody knows.
But at least he keeps an open mind when it comes to talking about stuff. Unless you're a troll, then he might just say screw it, I'm out.
Then I might just end the show. I might just say I don't have time for this and click end as Lawrence. The trolls don't usually get to me. And if they do sort of get to me, I just say you're no longer welcome commenting. You know what I mean? But Lawrence was watching a show and I just ended it. I just said I don't have time for you people and just left.
Right. All right. Well, on behalf of Lawrence Owen, Colts Law, Ray Rauth, DPN, I want to thank everyone for being here. Until next time, have a good one.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.